Hi, my name's Sandy, and I am the one that thought of WhiteRaven Holistic. I just want to tell you a little bit about my story and why I started it so that you understand that I am truly a real person. It's not AI, and I truly love helping people. I am 54 years old. I am a mother first and a paramedic, a wife, and a holistic practitioner, a functional medicine practitioner. I have to say, my journey as a burnout, now that it has a label, or stress, literally started, I think, at 6 years old. I am 8 of 9 children myself, and my mom died when I was 22, when my first son was not even 1 years old, and that was my first real dealing with grief. It took me 3 years to deal with that grief. Well, that's not my first. Honestly, it was when I lost my first child. That is when I dealt with grief. I'm going to step back for that one. I was 6 months pregnant and she was stillborn. Her name was Christina. And that was extremely devastating. Not to mention the childhood trauma that we all experience one way or another, whether it's truly there or what we've seen as a child. So grief was then, I was 21, and then my mom died when I was 22. And then all the stuff that grew up, I had 2 boys, I got divorced, I started as an EMT, and I became a paramedic. So I've been a paramedic for almost 30 years. And well, I say physically because I have a mix of his, hers, ours, and somebody else's children's. Uh, so I have physically had 3 children. And when we got together, my husband now, which is my third marriage, and we've been together for 23 years. We have a daughter together. So when we got together, I had 2 prior, he had 2 prior, and then we had one together. And then I got custody of one of my sister's kids. That was 3. And then when I was married prior, I got a couple more children. Uh, I have to say, my husband was a good man, married me with the kids, knowing that I put my children first. So, which I say and that's all of them, his, hers, ours, and somebody else's. So, in that process, my middle child, he got really sick. And you have to know that in that process time frame, and that was 10 years ago, I was still a paramedic, still had scheduling of 8 to 10 children, various ages, and living in different spots. Got divorced in the process and had to deal with all of that. I mean, it just piles and piles and piles, and dealing with the things that I have seen as a paramedic as well as a mom. Just stress is everywhere, organization is everywhere, and there's times to where literally I only had a minute to myself. And I did what they call now meditation off and on. I did what they call grounding, where I'd walk outside. I mean, the kids always went places and done things. So I do the stuff that I do now, but now there's names to it, labels, as some people like to call them. But I let's go back to my son. When he got sick, and it's a gene disorder, and biologically he's my nephew, but I've had him since he was 4. So when he got sick, we didn't know what it was. It was literally came on so fast, and it was mind-boggling. Truly, honestly, it was the first time in my life that I couldn't find a solution to help him. I was lost. I truly was lost. I didn't know who to turn to. Like, I was the one, and I still am the one that my family follow, whether it's my kids or my siblings, they follow me. And, you know, parties or family gatherings or at my house and all of that there. So who does the top person go to, or even the bottom person? It doesn't really matter, but who do you go to for all of that? And I didn't know that. I went to the doctors and they said he had cat scratch fever. Come on. Um, Said that he had all these other things, and it was just a mind-boggling situation. And I'll step back to when I was 34 after I had my last daughter, Amelia. And I literally was over 200 pounds. And that was after she was 2. And I'd always been a small person. And as an adult, I struggled with weight. Well, even as a child, because I was anorexic when I was younger. So, yeah, I've dealt with that forever. So, I mean, again, lots of self image and who am I questions throughout the years. So I went to the doctor to ask, for help. Like, will you test me for hypothyroidism or lupus? You search on the web, and when you're a paramedic or in the medical field at all, and you go to a doctor, of course they're going to be butting heads. And then when you search the web, it always winds up to be a crazy thing, but I am a very big skeptic. So I searched and I found that it was either one of those things. I fit in that category. And when I came to him and was like, hey, I just need tested, I need help, I need to talk to you about my medical. And he literally told me, well, you're past your 30s, you're just going to have to get used to being fat. And that's when I realized, oh no, we won't be doing that. I don't want to be a number. I don't want to be an account. I don't want someone to look at me like that. I want a solution. Like, let's find it together. I want a voice. And I felt like I did not have one at that time as far as my own medical. So that's when I got into holistic and alternative pathways, and I lost the weight. I became me again, and that ebb and flow of still self-image and stuff is still not addressed as well as it should have been back then. And then came my son that got sick, and then I felt extremely out. Like, what is going on? How do I process this? Who do I go to process it with? Who can make those decisions besides me? And that truly isn't there. Like, I mean, I had support. I have support. I have family. I have all of that, but that's not how you feel at the moment. In the moment, you feel literally no one is there. And I have to say that even though I had those tragedies in the past, that was the first time I literally felt I had no one. I couldn't figure out what was happening. And it took us 2 years to figure out that he actually had a gene disorder. And he went to Wisconsin for a little bit. And when he came back, he still was where he could not walk, talk, any of those things. And as a parent, you want to help, but how do you help? Like, the doctors, again, the doctors had said, just quit your job. And I'm like, well, my job is what's paying you, because it was $3,000 a day for them to restart him and get him on his feet. Like, literally, he had to learn how to walk by crawling. So, and the medicine that went with it, all of that, like, why make me a number? Why make him a number? Why can't we literally figure this out together? Why can't you hear me? And that's how I felt. And it took a long time to get that process and figure out who is going to advocate for me and for my child. And it was me. I had to learn how to do that. And that was hard to do, because who's going to teach me how to do that? And that was me. I taught myself how to do that, how to advocate for me medically, how to advocate for him and for all my children. all while working probably several jobs because, I mean, paramedics really don't make a whole lot of money, and taking care of all the kids at the same time. So, kids has been, I taught, hold on, I taught, and a bunch of other jobs. So, hang on while I pause and take my dog out. Just 1 second.